Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another ARAS webinar. Today's topic is TAGME certification. My name is Marianne Garcia Bowerman. I am the program administrator at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the current ARAS president. We also have some ARAS executive committee members here with us, Janice, Tracy, Tyronda, and Christina. And our speakers for today are Linda Schaefer and Gretchen Lynch. I will have them introduce themselves. And it's all yours.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Linda Schaefer. I am the immediate past president of TAGME and have been a member of ARAS for many years, probably 40, close to it. I was there from the very beginning. And Gretchen Lynch, who is my sidekick here, she is the current president of TAGME. And we're both very excited to give this presentation, but mostly because it's where TAGME began. So, 20 some years ago, we worked very hard to get it where it is now. So on behalf of TAGME, I want to sincerely thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present to ARAS. We truly appreciate your time and attention, as well as the chance to share this important information with your members. So we'll go ahead and get started. And as I mentioned, from the surgical subspecialty, this is where TAGME started. And we knew that there were so much going on and changing in the role of our positions. So we will be given a little bit of history on it too, in addition to the most important information that's up to date. So we have no disclosures or conflicts of interest to disclose. And we are a nonprofit organization with 100% volunteers on the board of directors. And this is our mission and vision. And the evolution for certification for program coordinators dated back to 2002. This is when we first started getting the ideas. And a group of us at the surgical specialties started working on an outcomes project for ARAS. And near the same time, the Council of Graduate Medical Education instituted the outcomes projects in the core competencies. This resulted in a ton of changes, I have to say, that increased the scope and depth of the functions of the program director and the coordinator over the years and their responsibilities. So the coordinator started out being a secretarial position, and then it evolved into so many more positions and so many more job duties over the years. So bringing the need for a higher level of skills and ability and a knowledge for site visits that were being executed from the ACGME to the programs to keep the accreditation current. And that's where TAGME started. So our objectives that we're going to be talking about today is the certification and the cycle timeline and understanding the types of certification and how to become certified, and then how to maintain it. So there are different types of certification. There's an initial certification is where you very first start if you've never been TAGME certified before, and the maintenance, the maintenance of certification, which is after 5 years of initial certification, you will move into the maintenance of certification. And then after 5 years of that certification, then you move in to the subsequent maintenance of certification, which is our new certification, which is called the SMOC. And I'll give you a timeline here. And so our certification timeline opens April 1st. And this is when candidates can apply and submit their applications. It's through April 1st through June 1st. And then we monitor those applications and let our candidates know between towards the end of June 30th, we started letting people know of our decision. And if there's any additional information that's needed on the application, we work with the applicants in between to let them know like something's missing on their application, or we try to help them. We'll walk you through it. And then by July 7th of the year, that's when the examination window opens. So you'll have from July 7th, that's when it starts opening, and you can start scheduling. So you can schedule from July 7th all the way through November 14th of scheduling your exam. The examination window closes on November 25th. We will not let anyone take the exam after that, but the initial scheduling can be done up to November 14th. So now we're going to talk about the eligibility. And if I'm going too fast, I just want to try to get everything in together so that if there's any questions at the end, we have a little bit of time. So the eligibility for all the certifications is that you have to be in a residency or fellowship program role or an institutional role or another GME role position. And candidates must, satisfy the requirements of the initial certification with being part or being a role in one of these areas here. So applicants must have completed 2 consecutive years in a qualifying GME role by the date of their application submission. For example, if you say that you, for example, if you have a 2-year anniversary and it falls on April 15th, but you apply on April 1st, you will not be able to apply. You have to wait until after the 15th if you started your position at that time. Then after the 15th, you should be able to meet all the requirements as long as you put everything in place in the application. So changing specialties or employers within a 2-year period is allowed, provided both roles are in GME and there are no gaps. And what I mean by gaps is there's no more than 60 days of gaps. So if you were a surgery program coordinator and you left there and immediately started in a new position 2 weeks later, you're fine. But you will need a verification form from your current program director or GME office and the one prior. And this is some information on the initial certification eligibility. This information is also available at tagme.org on our website that will give additional information regarding the ECs and what's required for the initial certification. The ECs, I'm sorry, are educational requirements. And the time frame for this year is April 1st of 2022 through the 2025, June 1st. So you would have to make sure that all of your ECs, the educational credits, are within that time period. The calculation of those ECs is 1 hour. And I know that a lot of the conferences anymore are like 0.50 or 0.75. We still look at those. And if you have some that are 0.50, there is a calculation on the application that adds them for you. So you can put those in and it will calculate for you. So please be aware of the eligibility requirements. These are very important. If they're not calculated or listed correctly on your application will be denied. And I suggest for all candidates to prepare a Excel spreadsheet, make a spreadsheet, put your information in of where you went to the meeting, the location, the date, the actual sessions that you attended with the titles, and the amount of time that the session was. So this way, if you go back in 2 years or the next year, you'll be able to go into your Excel sheet and put all of this information that you need for the application into one area, grab it from one area instead of worrying about, contacting the ACGME or Omni about the programs and looking at all this stuff. Okay. So the MOC eligibility, again, you must have the 7 years of continuous qualified employment. And that is like if you have 5 years of initial employment, and then you're getting ready to go into your mock eligibility, you would need to have the 2 years there, which would equal the 7 years to be eligible for MOC. So changing specialties or employers is allowed, again, as we mentioned before, as long as it does not exceed more than the 60 days. And the verification from the former or current program or GME office will be required. So SMOC eligibility is pretty much the same as the mock, where you have to meet the requirements of the ECs, the gaps again. The only difference I want to let you all know about the SMOC, with the initial and the MOC, there is an exam. With the SMOC, as long as you meet the requirements of everything that we asked, there is no longer an exam. You just have to meet those EC requirements, and that there's no lack of gap in your employment. And we still need that verification, the SVF, from your employer. So again, on the certification guide or on our website, this information is listed there, and we'll give you all of the eligibility requirements that is required for the MOC and the SMOC. So I wanted to go over a couple areas. We get questions all the time about what is permitted and what is not permitted. So as you can see, the qualifying activities is on your screen, and that is if you attend a national, regional, or state GME conference, attending your trainee orientation at your institution or given an orientation at your institution does not qualify. Participation at institutional retreats is allowed and will qualify as long as there is someone there, or you're giving the presentation, or someone there is giving a presentation on GME or professional development. Participation in routine like CCC, APE, or PEC meetings is not qualifying. This is part of your job that you're required. So that is not part of the qualifying activities. And again, the same thing with grand rounds. If you go to a grand rounds and, TAGME's coming to give a presentation, then that would be part of GME or professional development, or if Thalamus came or something and gave a presentation, or somebody from the ACGME came or something like that, that would qualify. But if you're going to a grand rounds to learn that your resident now knows how to do an appendectomy, no, that would not be an activity that you would be able to qualify, even though you went to the grand rounds, which I'm sure your resident would appreciate, but it would not be something that you would be able to attend or be able to qualify for an activity. And the same with the attendance at GMEC meetings, your monthly GME, or every quarter whenever you have them. That is part of your job to attend. That would be something that would not qualify. Again, I'm just going to move forward. Things that would qualify, as I mentioned before, ACGME, institutional staff, coordinators, workshops, and must be at least an hour. And as I said, a lot of the modules and stuff are together as a group, or they have like workshop, they have like a 6-week period or a week period. Routine programs or committee meetings within a division or a department are not qualified. And participation, if you have a site visit or a self-study visit, that does not qualify. That's part of your job. College level courses are relevant to administration or leadership. Yes, we would count those, as long as we know the length of your course and the title of your course. Any activity that has not occurred at the time of the application submission, we cannot count. So if you're going to have a course that starts next year in January, we can't count that. You would have to count that for the following year if you apply for credit. So let's move into the applications. So applications, when you get to the application, there is a portal on our website, and the application, you must click on that application, and everything is done through SurveyMonkey. That is our partner through the application. The account, by clicking on the blue register button, you can do that, and the account is created through there. And once registered, you will complete the application. Now, after selecting the application, you have to follow all the prompts on the screen, and all the required fields must be completed. If they're not completed, your application will be either denied or you will not be reviewed until it is completed. And we give us a substantial amount of time for you to complete that application. So really take your time, fill it out. If you need to leave it and come back, you can. Just don't forget to come back to it, because we have found that people will do that. They'll go in and think that they finished it, or and then either they forget to finish it or they forget to click the button to pay. And we've noticed that several times, that they think they're done and they haven't heard anything and they forgot to submit payment. So always too, this is really important. The name entered on the application must match the name on the candidate's valid government ID, which means their driver's license or a passport. I really recommend that you look at this, and when you fill your application out, be sure to use whatever name is on that application, on your government ID. So if it's Jennifer, don't use Jenny, or if it's Debbie, make sure you use Deborah on your application. So we have found that this has happened many times. Or if people get married in the middle of the application and they haven't changed their name yet, and then they come back to us and say, oh, I forgot, I'm married now, so my new driver's license has my married name, can I change this? So please be accurate with the name that you apply. And I know there's some people that use their, Deb or Jenny or something like that on their email for work or for their personal emails. That's fine to do that, but on your application and what you send in to TAGME has to be what is on your government issued ID. And this is for verification when you go to a testing center, or for the proctor to verify who you are. And we're going to talk a little bit more about emails here in a few minutes, so just bear with me. So this SVF form is your support verification form. This is the form that has to be completed by either a program manager, director, a program director, or a GME director, DIO, chair, dean, whoever is your supervisor and that can verify your employment. I will tell you, this year we've had many forms come in that the program director did not have the correct dates of when this person started. So I want to really, really point a finger at this, because I've had to send many back. So if you have been there for 20 years, like some of us, and your new program director or chairman comes in and they've only been there 3 years, they have no idea when you started, or they don't know what dates to put. They put that date that they started, that they've known you for, and the date to the present date. So, and you have to be really careful, because if you send things to HR, sometimes you don't get them back. So I would make sure that you look at the form, you either talk with them, give them the dates that you actually started in your program, or in the position that you're at when you started that position. We've had also people that have been in the same department for 20 years, but have had 3 different positions. So some of them will say, oh, I've been here doing this job for the last year, but really they've been in the department for 20 years, but they've only been doing the program coordinator job for a year. They would not qualify. They have to qualify with the position that they're in. So please be very careful in, putting the dates in of when you were employed. In the application, you have the opportunity to send, I'm sorry, in the application, you have the opportunity to send by email the SVF form to these people to have them completed, or you can print it off in a PDF, fill it all out with the dates, put your name on it, and then take it to them and put it in front of them and say, hey, I need you to look at this and give me, sign and verify that I do work here, and, give a little information about them and who it is that's filling out the form. I highly recommend doing that. It's quicker, and you can then scan it and upload it yourself into your application, and it's there and it's complete. Otherwise, if we do not get that SVF form, we cannot move forward with your application until we have it. So we all will, I'm sorry, we will accept any accommodations for anybody that requests, and this will be regarding learning disabilities, physical disabilities, nursing, people that have to take breaks to do breastfeeding, things like that. We ask that all of this information is provided at the time of the application, and a letter from the physician on their letterhead be also submitted with the application. Now, if something comes up in the middle after you have processed your application to us, you need to let us know immediately so that we can work with Major Learning, who's our testing partner, to make any accommodations that might be necessary. And so the application process for initial is $350, and the maintenance of certification is $350. The subsequent maintenance of certification fee is $250. So the review of the application process is after your application is reviewed, we contact you that let you know that your application is approved or denied. And the final deadline for the application review is June 30th. If additional time is needed for something, if something's come up, an emergency or death in the family or something like that, you need to let us know. And we've always tried to work with our applicants on that if there's an issue. So denied applications for the initial maintenance certification, if the application is denied, you will not be able to take the exam during this cycle, but you can reapply for the next year in the 2026 cycle. Now, this cycle has already went by, so of course you can't apply this year anyhow. But so this presentation is more or less to let people that have not applied to let them know what the requirements are and to be ready for the 2026. And the people that have applied this year, we're here to help and get you through it. So the initial and mock exams will be sent out. Major Learning will send an email out to our candidates around July 5th with detailed instructions on scheduling the exam. And the exam appointments are available 24/7 from July 15th through November 14th for scheduling the appointment. And the exam must be taken at least 24 hours in advance of the desired time and date. One thing I will let you all know that when scheduling the exam, make sure if you're doing it from an office computer or from home, that your computer and your office computer, that you've worked with your IT people to make sure if your laptop is joined with your office computer or work, you have to have the security information taken off, and there has to be a review with Major Learning of making sure that your computer is eligible. We've had so many people try to take the exam like on a weekend or at night, and their IT people is not available to help them remove security areas on their laptop or on their desktop. So please be aware to do this when you know that you have access to your IT people to help you. And just to also let you know, exams can be taken at the Major Learning testing sites You can go on the website and find the different areas in different states. I think all 50 states have a testing centers now, and there's more than one in some states. I know here in West Virginia, there's 4. So depending on where you live, I'm sure there's testing centers around. And I am going to be very honest with you. I think testing centers is the way to go. You don't have to worry about firewalls with your work laptops or computers or at home. If there is a firewall or security that is set on your computers at home through your work, you may have trouble removing them or not allowed to be removed. So this is something I want you to be very, very familiar with. So again, we're going to go now flip over to the study material. And again, this is on our TAGME website. We have a study guide there. The study guide is the sole official resource for certification preparing the candidates. You should rely only on this source. You may see things come through Facebook or other places that, you can buy a study guide material or you can buy questions and things like that. That's up to you if you want to do that, but I would not rely on it because this is the original study guide. We do work with some organizations that have study groups. And I know for a fact that NASAMA only uses the TAGME study guide. So if you're interested in a study group, that's one. I'm just going to throw that out. I'm not giving them high cues or anything, but I do know that that's the only study guide that they use. Through the exam, though the exam follows an open book policy, candidates must be or should be proficient in locating the information in the study materials. The exam demonstrates a high level of familiarity and knowing where to get the information. There's 150 questions with a duration of 5 hours for the completion. And there is a sample test for the exam on major learning, and it is here. And again, it's also in our certification guide as well, or you can scan the QR code here for the study guide or go to the TAGME website for the study guide. During the exam, you will have a screen, a computer screen, and only one computer screen is allowed to be used. You are allowed to bring in the printed copies of a study guide, and I would advise you to, if you do that, to make your tabs and put your notes in that notebook, so to speak, because you cannot take a pencil or paper into there to write on. You can only use what you bring in the notebook. There is a PDF version that can be altered to a size up in the corner of your exam window, but no other printed or electronic material is allowed in the testing center. And if you are at home doing a live remote, you will be the only one allowed in the room during the examination. They will, for the exam day, you will log in with a password provided. Also, you will give a specific password to start the exam online, and the same at the testing center as well. And they will confirm you will need your driver's license that day or whatever ID that you're going to use. There will be questions, and they will make you show a picture of the room and as well. So you must be alone in the room, and you have one 10-minute bathroom break. No writing implements, as I said, or note taking is allowed. No phones, tablets, smartwatches, and believe me, they will ask you to, if you have glasses, they will ask you to turn your head, show the arm of glasses. They will have you take the webcam and scan it around the room, under the desk, on the back. If you have 2 computers in there, you will be asked to cover one of the computers with a sheet or a towel or something, because you can only use one of those computers. And again, all the VPN software must be removed before the examination. There's no exceptions to this. And the reason for this is for not you, but it has been known that some of the software, if it's not removed, things can be copied or recorded. So if you're using a work computer, coordinate, as I said before, with your IT to ensure the compliance and that you meet all the requirements. So the exam day at the testing center, if you go to a testing center, you will receive an email. You pick the location. There will be instructions of like what time the examination center opens, what time they close, instructions of how to get there, or directions if it's in a building, what floor, things like that. And again, you'll have the same, unique login and password provided for that. During the post-exam, this is after you take your exam, candidates will, you'll receive an on-screen message. If you take the exam and you pass, you'll get a notification that you passed, and then it will let you know that you will be receiving information from Parchment, which is our testing, or which is our certification partner, and they will ask you information about you, so that you can access a digital certification. And now we also have a very nice hard copy certification certificate that will come in the mail to you. If you fail the exam, you will get a report on the areas that you were low scored in and your score of your exam. If you pass, you will not get this report. I just want to make sure that you understand that. You will not get a report if you pass. A pass is a pass. That's good. So again, rescheduling or canceling the exam, that information can also be found on our certification guide, and refund information as well. If you wait till the last minute, you can end up losing all of your money. We don't want to do that. So we really ask that if you need to make adjustments or change your schedule date, do it before the 24 hours of the scheduled time without a penalty. If you don't do that, then you could lose some money on that. Retakes, again, candidates who do not receive that score of 80% may apply for a retake in the same application cycle. So if you take your exam, say August 1st, and you fail, you can apply and take it within 5 days. You can go back in, or the next day you can go back in and you can say, I want to retake this, pay the fee, and reschedule your exam. So there's not an amount of time that we say you have to wait in between, but it does take at least 24 hours to 48 hours, because when you do the retake, you pay for it, it comes to TAGME, we have to approve it, and then we send it on to Measure, and it could take them 24 hours too to upload and send your need to schedule link. And remember, the final deadline to retake is November 14th. So the certification, validity, and maintenance, again, certificate is valid for 5 years. All certificates expire on December 31st of the 5th year. And during that final year of the initial, candidates are eligible to move forward, as I said, to the MOC, as long as you meet the requirements. And during that final year of your MOC, then you're also eligible to move on to the SMOC, which requires the educational credits and earned within the past 5 years. And after the SMOC, you can apply every 5 years as long as you meet those requirements of the 25 educational credits and the SVF form. So it was a pleasure to reconnect with ARAS, and we look forward to future opportunities to collaborate with you. And I am going to turn it back over to Mary Ann. And if there's any questions, I'm sure Gretchen and I will be able to help you answer.
Thank you so much, Linda. That was great. I hope this was very informative and helpful to a lot of you. I took my TAGME certification last September and I passed, thank goodness. Putting it
Great.
off for years. But thank you so much. We have some time for any last questions for TAGME.
I saw some questions in the chat, or saw some things in the chat, but I can't get to the chat for some
Oh,
reason.
I got you, Linda. I already took care of it.
Oh, okay, great,
Yes,
I had
great.
to be
thank
useful
you.
somehow.
Yes, thank you. I saw that Gretchen was responding to many of the questions, so.
Great, great. Um, oh, says 13. Okay, so is there 13 more questions or is it just
Um, There was just this one question. Let's see.
So the pass rate is 80% on all exams.
Okay.
great? Great.
And everybody, it can be super stressful, especially for those of us that are older and been out of school for a long time, having to study and prepare for another exam. Just remember that it's not about memorization. In your daily life, when say a PD or somebody asks you a question, most of us will go and look up that information anyway, just to make sure that we're remembering it correctly, because there's just so much in our heads, right? Like it's impossible to have all that stuff memorized. So when it comes to the open book exam, you just need to be familiar with where all the pieces and parts are, and so that you can quickly find something. There may be questions that you know just instantly right off the top of your head. Yes, that's correct. No, that's not. But there are others that are nuanced that you'll have to go look up and make sure that you're reading the question correctly and answering it correctly. And I know a lot of people are like, we throw in these trick questions. But if this certification is going to hold weight and mean something to everyone like we want it to, our jobs, we have to know how to read and interpret and apply all the ACGME rules. And that's why some of those questions are worded that way, so that we can say and attest to that you have the knowledge and the ability to do that in your everyday life. So that's why it's not just a gimme, for sure. And our advice to you is just get familiar with that study guide. Make sure that you use the study guide we post for that year, because we go through and verify all our source documents every year, and we may change them, and it may look very similar, but there might have been a change. So don't use an old guide. Whenever we post the new one on the website, make sure you use that one and nothing else, because that's where we pull all the questions from, I promise. And again, the other thing is just get familiar with that study guide, read carefully, and if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to reach out to us. We have several email addresses: info@TAGME, president@TAGME, applications@TAGME. We're here to help because we want everyone to be successful, and we love your feedback. Please let us know when things don't go right. We are here to help.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. Someone asked about the Control F feature during the exam. They said they couldn't access the guide. For me, it was the magnifying glass, and that happened by accident, because that happened to me too. I thought it was Control F, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's not doing it. So,
Yeah, that is definitely a panic moment. And I know I'm old school. I've done this for a really long time. Paper is king, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I have slowly drifted off to electronic, but we would encourage everyone just print out that guide. I know it's like killing trees, but if there's any technical difficulties that day, you will be so happy that you have that notebook in front of you. Because it's only one monitor, and we are all used to using multiple monitors now. So now you're going to squish me down to one, which we can't get around. That measure cannot provide that. So when that window pops up, it might actually cover up the whole question or part of the question. So you can't like leave up the guide and answer the questions at the same time. So that's a little frustrating, because you're having to spend time going back and forth. And that's when you might use the book over the PDF. You can use both. It's not one or the other, but our strong suggestion is that you always print that guide.
Yeah, one thing I will also add to, we have a great FAQ area on our certification guides and on the website. So there is a lot of really good information if you go in there. One was about, and I found out too, like if people are taking this exam at home, like on a Mac, which is Gretchen's favorite, if you do it on a Mac, the control option to turn the page, sometimes the page will turn sideways. So just be careful with that too. I know some people had trouble with that too on there. So if you're using a Mac or if you're using, a regular desktop, just make sure that whatever your control is, that you're using the right control. And it's listed too in our FAQs. There's a lot of good information on the FAQs. So, be sure to look at them. We have FAQs for initial MOC as well. So look in both areas.
The other thing, Measure does offer, there's a link that you can go to that will give you a sample exam and how it functions. I would highly encourage everyone to go in and play with that so that you know how to mark a question and come back to it later, how you advance, how that split screen, or not split screen, but how the PDF guide comes up, and try and use that on the computer that you're actually going to take the exam on. Don't maybe practice it on your laptop, but then you're going to take it on your office
Yeah.
computer and it doesn't work the same.
Mhm.
Same token is Measure offers an IT test for you to run on your computer to make sure that it meets all requirements. Make sure you do that at the time that you plan on taking the test. Say you're going to do it at home and you do it during the day, but you signed up for your test to take it at 10 o'clock at night, which some people have done because the kids are asleep and everybody's quiet. If you don't test it at the time you're going to take it and you do it during, the evening and everybody's on your Wi-Fi, it might run slow. So make sure that you test it at the same time that you're going to take it and on the same machine that you're going to take it. Then that way you know it's a true test.
Yeah, I agree.
The quick question is, are the instructions going to be updated to say use the magnifying glass instead of Control F? Because a lot of people tried Control F to bring up the guide and that didn't work during the exam.
Yeah, I think it's a Control R now, I think for the guide, or maybe that's to turn it sideways. We can check on that and let you know, Marion.
Those instructions should be with Measure, but we are
They
definitely
should.
to
Yeah.
check that, and especially if there's some point of confusion on that, we meet with them frequently. So we will bring that up to them and make sure that we've got that explained appropriately. And like I said, we appreciate all feedback because we do monitor all the information that goes out, but sometimes things may not make sense. So please let us know if you're having trouble.
Yeah. The other
Thank
thing
you.
I want to let you know too is TAGME gave some really nice instructional webinars this year. If they haven't, if none of your people there as members have joined those or witnessed those, I think we have them all recorded, and also Major Learning recorded a kind of like a webinar as well. And I think it's on our website. I believe it is now on our website. They were putting it together. So I can let you know, Marianne, and if it isn't, we'll get it for you. And that will give some
Okay.
information too about the testing site. And if people are interested in doing it next year, or even people that are already have their application but getting ready to take it, if they have any questions, we were talking about, possibly having another Major Learning webinar. So we'll let you know.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Linda.
You're
Someone
welcome.
asked in the chat, do I go back into SurveyMonkey to retake the exam?
Yes, you would have to go back into SurveyMonkey and then click and pay for the applicant to retake it. You have to pay it through SurveyMonkey through Stripe.
And
And
then
you
you
would
email
go
again. So we
ahead.
have to like repeat the process, but just in a modified
Yes,
way.
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions from the group?
Oh no. I'm so sorry. I thought I was applying to everyone. My bad.
Ah,
Huh.
Okay, someone asked, will initial applications for 2026 be open on April 1st through June 1st of 2026?
Yep. We try to stick to the same schedule, even though that may fall on a a weird day or whatever. But we're all creatures of habit. We like to plan. So that's why we decided we'll stick with that and keep planning that way so you guys know what to expect.
Thank you.
And we're sorry if you do run into any problems if you're taking an exam virtually or on a laptop. If you have trouble with the proctor or not understanding, or just be polite and ask, can you repeat? Because we know some of them have accents and stuff. So they've told us to please make sure everybody to let them know that if they need to ask to repeat, it's no problem to ask to repeat.
Also, if you do have technical difficulties and it is just like super stressful and they are not able to help you, just tell them that you are going to reschedule. Reach out to us
Yeah.
and let us know. We'll be happy to reschedule you. We don't need IT issues to add to the stress of taking an exam, and measuring the proctors are not perfect, and unfortunately we can't control all of them, but we definitely want you guys to be successful. And if for whatever reason you did all the tests and all the things and it's just not working and you can't get through the test, we've had some people have delays with the proctor getting to start the exam. I mean, like, we're talking an hour, and you're sitting there trying to wait for them to launch the exam for you. That is just super stressful. And again, we can't control that, but if you have any bad experiences or if you have positive experiences, please let us know so that we can, be aware of what's going on. You are not alone in all of this. We are here to help you.
I see a question about you can't read the questions out loud, and I want to answer this because we've had a couple people ask us, why can't I read it out loud? Well, it's just like with any testing company, just like board exams with American Board of Surgery and things like that. You're in a testing area. They want to make sure that, and I'm not saying anybody does this, but they want to make sure that nothing can be overheard through a wall or through a door, so that nothing can be recorded. And I mean, I think talking quietly to yourself, like, something like that, I think is fine. But the proctor will let you know if she feels or he feels that you're talking too loud. And that is the reason for, not allowing people to read the question out loud. So I hope that answered the question. Do you have anything to add to that, Gretchen?
Now, I know it all seems kind of strange, but Measure also does testing for a lot of the boards and things like that. And so the reason that the proctors may not fully know all of our rules like cold is that they work with a lot of other exams. I mean, like, for maybe to work for people at the airport, TSA, or other things. And so that's why they don't just deliver exams for us. And so that's why they may not necessarily know all the functions and things like that. They should have a resource guide too that they know. We've had in the past where a proctor has told a candidate they couldn't have their notebook, and it was like, that's absolutely not true. Like, you have to have the notebook. And like I said, if anybody tells you something that you know that you've read in our rules and it is not correct, and they won't give on that, then just tell them that you're going to reschedule the test and let us know, and we'll get that fixed for you. And those are very far and few betweens. We've had very few instances this year where we've had to step in. You guys are recorded during the exam, so if there are any problems, we can go back and we can look at that and make assessments or changes off of that so that it's all documented. So if there's a he said, she said sort of situation going on, we can go back and actually look at that.
That's great.
Mhm.
Monica, I'm glad you find this helpful and that you feel better about retaking the test. So don't give up.
No.
Yeah. And I saw that someone asked about retaking, how do they go in and retake or reschedule, things like that. If they go into the certification guide and they can't find something, if they're looking for an answer and they can't find it, please email us, at info.com or info@tagme.org, I'm sorry, or applications at tagme.org. I review those emails constantly every day, so I try to get back to people as soon as I can and quickly as I can. And if I don't know the answer, believe me, I will be looking for the people that do know the answer.
That's very rare because Linda's been here since the get-go. So if Linda don't know, then it's never come up before.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the group?
We sincerely appreciate your interest and hope that everybody pursues TAGME. It's not necessarily for everyone. It kind of has to be a personal choice. We hope at some point down the road that like this is the gold standard, and just like, you know, certified procedure coders, you know, that is the gold standard for them. Most people don't get hired unless they're certified. That's the goal for TAGME, is to just keep raising awareness of how important these roles are. You are indispensable to your programs, and we just need to keep raising the bar and the awareness of what TAGME is and what a great job that we do. We are professionals. We're not secretaries, and it takes a certain skill set to get the job done well, especially in surgery. I'm an old surgery girl, general surgery. So it's very difficult. Not that any other specialty is not. Please don't misunderstand me. All specialties have the same requirements. That's where my heart is in surgery. And Linda, kudos to you for not calling it ARCS instead of ARAS.
I almost did. I almost did. So we enjoy anything with the surgical field with ARAS, and I'm always, you know, I'm still a member. I still keep an eyeball out and listen to people talking and different things with ARAS. And you know, Gretchen and I would be happy to come down to any of the meetings or talk to you guys again. So you just let us know.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda and Gretchen, for your presentation today and your time. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today, and look out for more notifications of our future webinars.
All right.
Thank you
Great
all.
to see everybody. Thank you
Bye.
for having us. Bye-bye.
Bye.